So I made my own little roll around solar generator after seeing the prices of some of the commercial ones. And I thought I would make a video about this. Obviously, I built this with a very particular set of needs in mind. So everybody else's needs are going to be a little different. And I know that this might be awesome for some people, not awesome for other people. But I just, more than anything, thought it might give you guys some ideas and kind of take things in your own direction. So, starting with the solar panels, this is just an El Cheapo from Harbor Freight. They're actually on sale right now for 80 bucks. This is not what I'm using. I'm actually using a 200 watt Renergy one, and for the camper, I'll be using at least 800 incoming watts of solar to even try to keep up. But I want to be able to also be small and portable as well. So this little guy would probably be fine for a lot of applications. And then you just have your leads that connect the solar panel to the box. I have a couple fuses here that are on the lines. So we'll pop open the box and see what's on the inside. So I still have some prettying up to do, but we have our leads that come in that come to this breaker, or this on and off switch here, just to be able to disconnect everything while I unplug it, or if I need to do anything, change a fuse or anything like that. It was nice to have a little switch on there. This is going into a 40 amp charge controller. A lot of this stuff is a little proportioned. I got kind of a big inverter, kind of a big charge controller, not a whole lot of battery space or battery storage, and I'll explain it here in a little bit. So I got this 40 amp charge controller. I got some fuses here, 40 amp. One thing that I do need to add is a on and off switch in here, because this guy wants to stay powered on, so I had to pull the fuse out. So I'm going to add a little switch in there that I can toggle on and off to make it a little easier. And then that goes to a 100 amp hour battery. So I do a lot of off-grid radio kind of stuff, and radio only needs a 12 volt battery. So I have a connector here with a about 3 foot of wire on it that's just kind of sitting in here, and I could poke it out one of these holes, so I won't have to be so close to it, or maybe get to a comfortable place to sit down or something like that. So I got some excess wire that I can kind of string out from there. So after coming out of the battery, I decided instead of doing a fuse, I went with a circuit breaker. This was actually only like $25. It's a 200 amp. So instead of having to replace fuses all the time, all I have to do is just simply reset it, just like you would a normal house breaker. I have the leads that come out and then go to the inverter. The reason why I put it on the top of the lid, I bought this as a stack-on kit. I do have the upper boxes, but I didn't want this to be, it didn't really fit inside of the box. I would have had to heavily cut it up. It does require, being able to get air to run the fans and space to plug everything in. So instead of burying it inside of a box, it was probably going to make it kind of a pain in the butt. I ended up just mounting it on the lid because I want the option to kind of keep this small. Some of the things that I did learn is this particular battery that I got is a little too big. I can get a 24 series lithium 100 amp hour battery, same size. It's just going to be maybe a little taller, but it's going to be narrower that way. So with that, I'll be able to put 2 of them in here sideways. So that gives me some options as well. I can either, obviously I'll have 200 amp hours of battery storage, but that also gives me the option of tying them together and making a 24 volt system instead of a 12 volt system. So it gives me another set of options there. I went with a 3000 watt, which is kind of much. Not to get too crazy into detail, but a normal outlet is the 120. If you break it into watts, it's about 1800, which a 2000 watt inverter would pretty much take care of anything that you need to plug into one of those kind of outlets. So I do want the option to run air conditioning, run fridges, stuff like that, but obviously I don't have as much battery storage. So like I said, I'm going to add 2 of them, which would help. I'm probably going to get some bigger batteries, some 280 amp hour batteries, and mount those in my camper, and those will stay in my camper. And then I could just connect my camper batteries to this more small portable setup to increase my battery storage. So with this setup, I'm having a way to make it fit a lot of different kind of needs. I'm just a regular Joe, and stuff's expensive these days, so I can't devote it to one thing. So instead of this living in my camper, I wanted to be able to do other things with it. So I thought this would maybe give ideas for somebody else. So like I said, I could have some kind of disconnect that I could tie other batteries to it, or take this and tie it to the other batteries and the charger and then run those to the inverter. It gives me a bunch of different options, but I did want this to stay as small as possible if I don't need big. So I have room to grow. I have room to keep it small. Like I said, I have this connector that I can connect. So if I don't even need to run the inverter at all, I can power a lot of my radio equipment simply right off of the battery. And then I won't need 3 or 4 200 watt panels to keep the battery charged. If I'm just running a radio, a small 100 amp or 100 watt solar panel would be plenty for being more small, being more portable. So as this kit sits at the moment, it's probably $1,600. The Jackery commercial one, that's a 2000 watt inverter, is like $5,000. With it's on sale right now. I think it's a little over 6,000. So huge price difference. Obviously they have some more battery storage in theirs, but I'm going to change this to have some more battery storage, but I can also, like I said, have batteries that would stay in the camper. So with this one unit, it kind of gives me some freedom to keep it small. It's on wheels. I can roll it around. I can do some stuff with it, or I could bring it with me in the camper, hook to the battery to this guy, and then hook this to the other batteries. Obviously, I have a lot of space on the roof of the camper to put all kinds of solar panels, because I'm not going to be dragging them around with me. So this gives me a lot of different options, a lot of different freedoms without having to really change a lot. So if I'm just charging a laptop, 3,000 watt inverter is crazy. Don't need that much. But if I'm trying to run my whole camper, I run my camper. I don't take my camper to normal camping places. I run it pretty much solely off of a 3,500 watt Predator generator. So this is going to be very close to the similar size. So that's what I kind of had in mind when I picked this. Same when I picked the charge controller with the needs of the camper, but I also wanted to keep it small and mobile. So, and I can always tie into things to make it do more. So like I said, this is my specific kind of needs, but I thought maybe this might give somebody ideas or maybe some answers to their questions for some kind of solar stuff that they're doing, and then obviously for a fraction of the cost. Depending on if you're trying to run, like I said, a whole camper, or if you're just having something for a fraction of the cost that would work for emergencies. I could have gone with a smaller inverter that would have saved money. I could have gone with a smaller charge controller that would have saved money. I could have used a lead acid battery instead of a LiFePole battery. It all really depends on what it is that you're trying to do. But it's not really that complicated. There's a ton of ideas on YouTube that you can go deeper down the rabbit hole, but I just thought that this would maybe give somebody ideas. The thing that took me the longest putting this together was really just putting everything in different places and trying to kind of figure out what seemed like it worked. And this was just a cheap roll around toolbox from Harbor Freight, because obviously I cut a ton of holes in it. I wasn't going to buy a Milwaukee or a rigid or something like that that was nice and good that I'm just going to cut a bunch of holes in and potentially it not work anyway. So I definitely wanted to start with something cheaper. I think the box was $69. So the biggest thing that I want to make an improvement on, like I said, is just using a different series of batteries that is a little shorter so I can run two of them side by side, which will either give me more battery storage or the option for tying them together and making it a 24-volt system, which the charge controller is capable of charging a 24-volt system too. So this gives me a lot of options. I hope this gives you guys some ideas. Like I said, I'm no solar expert, but I am a very creative guy, and I thought maybe this might help somebody else get over the fear of it a little bit and simplify it. And I don't have any of the cool bells and whistles and all the little LED lights and all that stuff that I figured that's everything's going to pull power. So I wanted this to be as simple and as minimum as absolutely possible without having a big rat's nest of wiring or anything like that. I'm not going for looks. This was solely for function and trying to keep it lightweight for when I only need something lightweight. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it gives you guys some ideas. I'm sure I'll get tons of critics and professionals in the comments, but whatever, that's what YouTube's all about, right? So get out there and tinker and don't be afraid to cut up things and make your own stuff.